Here we are today. We've got our man, Jim Horn, world famous Jeeper from Jeep Jamboree and Outlaw Jeep Tours. The man is, look at that. Tell me that's not a Jeeper.
It's funny you're saying that because I told Barb, I was like, dude, what's going to call me? And she's like, he doesn't even know your name.
Hi, Barb. Whatever. You guys. So you've been doing some. It's interesting that the role that you have where you're able to test drive different vehicles. Like, I remember when the JT first came out, who was one of the first guys that got to drive it?
Right, yeah, it was awesome. I'm pretty lucky with what I get to do most of the time.
Yeah, well, we're looking at some of the new things coming out on the market. We're always talking Jeeps, but the Bronco is out there and it's looming on the horizon, and we're looking at it and we're saying there's some pretty cool things. But you're the guy that's actually had some seat time in a Bronco, right?
Oh, you know what? I wish I could say that. That claim to fame right now. It's not. I did get to crawl underneath it and check it out.
Ah, okay.
With level up there, so I got some hands-on, but no wheel time in it yet.
Okay. Did you get to, I guess, wheel with it, see it perform, that kind of thing?
Yeah, we did get to see it perform a little here and there, but we didn't follow it through our entire trail. It went out ahead of us. We were just prepping for our Rubicon trip. So yeah, I did get some firsthand watching it wheel, and got my hands on it a little bit and got to crawl underneath it.
Well, cool. I did some research on the dang things just to kind of give us a baseline comparison. What's the difference between the Jeeps and that Bronco? I'm actually a Bronco guy. I had a 90 Bronco. That was one of my first off-road builds I did. Lifted the old girl, 35s on it, and painted her all up. It was a really nice Bronco, and so
That's awesome. I had no idea. I've known you since '96 or '7, and I had no idea you were a Bronco guy.
Yeah, that was actually my tow rig for dragging my YJ around.
Really?
So, yeah. So it was.
Well, at least you did dragging it around and not dragging it off the trail. That's a good thing. Hey, sorry, I keep looking away. We're in downtown Vegas. Barbara and I are heading. We're going to take 2 days off and go camp on the Rubicon for a couple of days. So
good for you.
I'm not talking to you and driving at the same time.
All right, cool. So I did some research. The Bronco, the prices on them. It looks like $28,500 is baseline for the new Broncos, and then $59 is the high end. So there's quite a range, just like on the Jeeps. You can go big or go small. Engine wise, we got that 2.3 turbo and then the 2.7 twin turbo, right?
Yeah.
And
I have a question real quick. I've done some research on it. We watched the launch and everything.
Yeah.
So for that, with the twin turbo, do they have an electronic motor that keeps that turbo spun a little bit? Or do you have a little bit of turbo lag with that twin turbo? I don't know. Nice to know.
Yeah, I haven't seen that either. I looked and I couldn't see anything about an e-torque motor like Jeep has. So I think they'd have been proud of that if they had it.
Yeah.
So
when they were out there, I was talking to Brad, and they wouldn't let me pop the hood or anything. They were kind of on a tight schedule, but...
I kind of wondered, and I imagine it does the start-stop thing, like everybody does now in all their cars these days.
Yeah.
So, well, that horsepower-wise, that 2.3 compares to the 2.0 turbo that's in the JLs. Pretty close, 270. Horsepower right is just the same, but the torque on them is 285 torque on the Jeep and 310 on the Broncos. So they got a little bit of an edge there on torque.
A little bit. What's the power to weight ratio? Do you know what that Bronco weighs?
Yeah. They weigh in at about 53. There's a bazillion different weights on it, but the higher, I figured, higher end what a Jeeper would have is close to 5,300 pounds, and we're like 57, So 56,
so
57.
It's all pretty close.
Pretty close.
And that's what they do. I got to see it, take a look at it, watch it wheel. It's a nice looking rig. One of the biggest things I think with what Bronco got to do is it's almost like a rock crawling competition as far as I'm concerned. You know, you never want to go first on the course. Jeep always goes first on the course, and whoever can follow can kind of watch the climb that Jeep does. That's my analysis on it. And I'm not saying anything bad about Bronco because it was super sharp. And you know, the D inside on the dash, I really like the functions of it. But like I said, you know, when you're going second on the course, you aren't setting the bar.
That's the true story. That dash thing that you talk about, I looked on here, and standard gives you that 6-speaker 8-inch touchscreen. That's just standard in all of them.
Right.
Yeah, and it gives you, you know, the Uconnect, climate control, keyless entry, push button. So there's a lot of features that are just standard on them, which is pretty impressive.
Like I said, when they came out and did the launch, you know, they second on the course, they pretty much just drew back and punched Jeep right in the mouth with everything they wanted to come up with that Jeep wasn't doing. It's been lucky for me. I've talked to a couple of lead engineers, and one thing, competition creates innovation, and I've got to talk to a few of the engineers, and I'm excited about with what Jeep's got coming up, and the refresh will be coming out soon. So, you know, Jeep's going to be looking pretty good again. It might take a little bite out of their market, but I wouldn't think much. TeraFlex, you guys aren't swapping machines over to making Bronco lift kits yet, are you?
No, TeraFlex is, we're Jeep guys. But we do have the Falcons that'll fix the shocks. I mean, I watched that launch, and I watched the one Bronco bounce around those whoops, and I'm like, whoa, they could use some shock help on that one. Yeah. So I think the Falcons will help out.
Everything's a coilover on that. I know you guys know. You've done some research on it. So we'll see how that works. You know, IFS front, which is great in the desert. We'll see how it is in the rock. I know those boys took it through the Rubicon. I know they've been in Moab with it for a while. And they're doing some really good testing on it. So
I watched them take it up the escalator. When I watched them take it to the escalator, I'm like,
I haven't seen it yet. How'd it do?
It got through it. I mean, the guy driving was kind of not as stable. The guy spotting him really put him on a good line, so he didn't take out the top on the right rear corner. So that was impressive. So
that's interesting.
Have you heard anything about this terrain management system, that 5GOAT they call it, GOAT, which is go over any terrain? Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't. Like I said, when we were there with it, or not with it, just watching it, you know, I got to ask a couple of questions, and I know it's the switch. It's just a knob, functional knob. Me, I'm more of I like to grab the lever and pull it into 4-wheel drive. You know it's working, but the GOAT mode, that's kind of cool. I have to admit.
Just locker. I mean, it's probably just full lock, but they just gave it a cool mode, a cool name, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I looked. Did you see the
front rear?
Yeah. Did you see the? They were all touting this gear ratio, this low range gearing, and they're like, our crawl ratio is 8 bazillion to 1, and I was just laughing because I'm like, man, hello 1990, you know, that's when we were doubling up transfer cases on the Toyota trucks, you know, and having low speed races to see who could go the slowest. But the reality is you got to have some momentum, you know.
You do a lot of things.
You know. Yeah.
Yeah, you need a little wheel speed to get up. I mean, it's almost like they took a page out of Toyota guidebook there. let's double this up.
Yeah, that's what their 7-speed transmission is. It's a 6-speed, but the 7th is actually a super low granny gear.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so you wouldn't even use that much.
What was the final ratio on that? Do you remember? I know. I heard rumor that it was a super low gear. Almost seemed too low geared for what I would use.
It was. I didn't write it down, but I just looked at because I was just laughing. I was like, oh my gosh, we used to play that game, but yeah, we're over it. Now we're all putting 3-to-1, you know, transfer cases. Like in my LJ that's built to rock crawl, it's a 3-to-1. I didn't go to the, you know, 4, 5-to-1, all that stuff they're doing.
Yeah, well, the motor you put in that LJ would just eat that 4-to-1. You need some wheel speed. Let that thing go.
Yeah. Wheelbase on them is really close. I was impressed with that. We're talking 116 on the 4-door. That's what a JK is, you know.
Yeah.
So that,
you know, as far as the looks and the way it's going to function, I think that's a good wheelbase for it. They punch the wheels out on the corner. It's going to be really stable. Like I said, I wish I had some more firsthand info of it when we were out there on the Rubicon just watching it.
The track width, I read the track width is 65, and I don't know how they're measuring that. Is that middle of the tire or something, or the outside edges? It can't be outside edges because that's freaking narrow.
There's no way that could be outside edge. It has to be middle.
Yeah.
Or I wouldn't think that'd be WMS, would it?
It doesn't say they would have said that.
Yeah, because full width is what, 68?
Yeah, we do a 70. For our axles, we'll do a 70 wide as our extra wide, and then there's 67 is what our standard is, because they got the same wheelbase if they're narrower or wider. I don't know. I was laughing. They also did a lot with here's our breakover angle, and we're 1 inch better than Jeep here and all this, and I'm like, whatever. All that goes out the window as soon as we get her all TeraFlexed up and set up how it needs to be,
No, that's 100% true. Breakover angle is important, but what about tearing off your right front fender? Because there's nothing protecting that. That's going to be important sooner or later.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see when they hit the market if more people are going to do more of a pre-runner style with them, which I think it might be 50-50 with the pre-runner style. And if you're looking under it, I mean, there's not a lot. I mean, everybody, you can cut out everything out from underneath it and do whatever you want, but it's all the same body style. Yeah. But as far as just quick aftermarket parts, I mean, you're looking at maybe 1 inch to a 2 inch lift max, I would think.
Yeah, they're coming out of the box with 35s for crying out loud. That's pretty good.
Yeah. So it's I don't know how much aftermarket things are going to be for it right out of the gate. So. Yeah. But when was the last Bronco produced? What year was that? 95, 6? I can't even
somewhere
remember.
In there, yeah, in late 90s. Yeah, late 90s. It's been a while. It's kind of like the Gladiator to the Scrambler thing, Took them a while to come back around.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and like I said, I don't ever say anything bad about his product. It was, when we were out there, it was a nice looking rig. It's sharp. I'm really curious over the next few months to kind of see how it's going to play out, and I can't wait till it hits the market. And actually, I'd like to drive one for sure. I know, unfortunately, I have some friends that have already ordered one. So it is.
Well, we got one coming, so we got one to play with coming. So
yeah.
Did you see that? You notice the doors on it? How everything comes off, top doors and all that stuff, but the doors.
Everything stores in the back of the door-wise. You can take the doors with you, so if you hit some bad weather or wind or sand, maybe you can just throw those doors back on. That was kind of cool.
Do you notice there's no upper door rail on the doors? So the door goes, the window sucks in, and you got like a half door sitting there. Yeah. No mirror on it, no anything. You just throw it in the back. That's a great idea.
Yeah, that was a really good idea. Like I said, when you're second on the course, it's not too hard to do something different.
Well, I guess the downside is we'll see how well they seal at the top.
Yeah, that's one thing too. You know how that you get the window flail at the top sooner or later.
Yeah.
It starts to wear out.
Yep.
I'm curious on that.
It was kind of interesting. I saw that they're designed to run on regular gas, which is like, really, all this turbo stuff in there?
Really?
Regular? Yeah. Like, that's interesting.
Yeah, because I haven't read that either. You think it'd be a little higher octane?
Yeah, they're 10-to-1 compression, so I guess that variable valve timing just lets it keep it under control, so they don't ping,
Yeah, I guess it would have to. So the motor with that's got an overhead cam in it, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So one thing that'll allow
you to do. Probably a dual.
Get it, with the it'll allow you to not be up, well, you wouldn't want it upside down, but it's going to run upside down and not lock up on you with an overhead cam.
That's always good. Yeah.
Maybe they'll do it when it rolls over and plays dead when Jeep's passing it, right?
I wonder how the electronic control stuff's going to go, because on this JL, how this whole, you can't grab reverse, you got to touch the brake, squeeze a little deal, push it in, all that. I wonder how their electronics, there's this keep you alive stuff, how that's going to work.
I don't know, because it would be nice if they did put more driver control back in your hands. The same thing, we'll have if you're trying to back up anything, you get at a slight angle, the computer will shut the Jeep down. So yeah, it's a good point. I would be curious to see what that does. I've got some friends out there with it that are testing it, so it'd be nice to reach out to them as soon as they're done. I don't know if they're on any type of moratorium or something where they can't do anything yet, but I wouldn't think so. It's been released, so if I get any info, you'll probably get some before I will. I'd like to know, because I would be curious about that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of been for the guys that wheel them hard, that's kind of been
Yeah. I love that answer. Barb's even laughing on that.
All right. Well, that's cool. That's a little blurb on it. Can we do this again when we've had some seat time and stuff in them, and maybe you had a chance to drive it?
That's what. When you guys get yours, you and I'll take some time away from somewhere. Let's hook up and go run that thing. I'd love to do that.
All right, man. All right. We'll let you get back to driving safely through Vegas. What's the temperature?
Brother.
You about up to 100 degrees yet?
It is 97 right now.
Wow.
Yeah, when we were racing last weekend, we were hitting some 110s, 112s. It was a little warm, but it was good. We had a good time.
All right. Well, thanks for your time, Jim. You and Barb have a fun trip out there.
All right.
See ya.
See you, brother. Love you, man.
All right. See you. Bye.